You ever seen a judge stay ice cold while the whole room's about to blow? Yeah, that's Judge Edith Jones today, calm, collected, and sitting there like she's been through 100 storms just like this one. The courtroom's packed. You can feel the tension in the air, the kind that makes your skin buzz. Every seat's filled, every phone is out, every breath feels too loud. It's one of those moments where everyone knows something's coming, they just don't know when. Judge Jones doesn't move much. Her hands are folded, her eyes steady, her robe perfectly pressed. She's got that old-school Texas authority, the kind that doesn't need volume to command the room. You don't interrupt her, you don't test her patience. But today, somebody's about to do both. Then the doors swing open and Jasmine Crockett steps in like she owns the space. She's not walking, she's storming. Head high, fire in her eyes, not backing down for anyone. You can practically feel her energy bouncing off the walls. People start whispering, "Oh, this is about to get good." The cameras shift toward her, lenses ready to catch whatever's about to unfold. Jones doesn't flinch. She just looks up with that calm, surgical gaze, the kind that says, "Go ahead, make your move." Crockett pauses for half a second, but it's not hesitation, it's calculation. She's reading the judge, figuring out how far she can push. The room's dead silent, like everyone's holding their breath. And that silence? That's the scariest sound in the world, because silence means power. Silence means the judge is in control, at least for now. Crockett clears her throat, and even that tiny sound echoes like thunder. She starts talking, measured at first, respectful even, but there's an edge underneath, the kind of tone that says, "I'm not here to play nice." Her words start slicing through the calm like a blade. You can tell she's got something to prove, and right there, that's when the energy shifts. Judge Jones leans back slightly, eyes narrowing, but her voice stays level. She doesn't raise it. She doesn't have to. Every syllable lands heavy, the kind that makes you rethink your next sentence. She says something about decorum and order, the kind of judge talk that sounds polite, but cuts deep. The crowd can feel it, the slow burn building between authority and defiance. It's not yelling yet, but it's electric. The type of tension that pulls everyone in tighter, makes them lean forward in their seats. Even the reporters stop typing for a second. Something's about to happen. Crockett crosses her arms. A small smile flickers. Not joy, but challenge. She throws a line back, sharper this time. It's confident, maybe too confident. You can tell she's daring the judge to push back. And when she does, it's not loud, it's cold. Jones delivers her response like a scalpel, clean, precise, and deadly. The air in the room changes instantly. You can hear a few quiet gasps. People aren't sure if they should look away or lean in. And that's exactly what makes this moment so powerful. Nobody wants to miss what comes next. Jones keeps talking, calmly dissecting every word Crockett just said, turning her argument inside out without breaking a sweat. It's surgical, it's brutal, and it's mesmerizing. Crockett's expression hardens. Not anger exactly, but something deeper. She's realizing that playing it safe isn't an option anymore. If she's going down swinging. She adjusts her stance, straightens her blazer, and gives that look, the one that says, "You haven't seen anything yet." The judge pauses. You can hear the ticking of a clock somewhere in the background. For a full 3 seconds, nobody breathes. Then Jones says softly, "Proceed." It's permission, or maybe a dare. Either way, it's the spark. Crockett steps forward, voice louder now, stronger. The emotion starts to pour out, passion, frustration, pride. Every sentence feels heavier, like she's not just speaking for herself anymore. She's speaking for every person who's ever been told to sit down or wait your turn. Jones listens, face unreadable. She lets Crockett talk, maybe to see how far she'll go. The longer it goes on, the more divided the room feels. Half are with the judge, half are riding with Crockett. And just when it feels like it might settle, Judge Jones shifts in her chair, leans forward, and says one quiet line that turns the whole place upside down. Because the second Crockett opens her mouth again, everything flips.
In D.C., respect's supposed to be earned, but Jasmine Crockett, she came to set the record straight. The second she starts talking, you can tell this isn't going to be one of those calm, quiet courtroom exchanges. Nah, this one's got tension written all over it. You can feel it in the air, thick thick and electric, like right before a thunderstorm hits. Cameras are locked in, mics are live, and every reporter in the room knows they're about to witness a viral moment in the making. Crockett's voice is steady, but there's a charge in it, that unspoken message of, "I've had enough." She's not yelling, not yet, but the tone carries years of frustration. She's not just talking to the judge, she's talking to every person who's ever been told to stay in their place. The crowd feels it too. People shift in their seats, eyes darting from her to Judge Edith Jones, waiting to see which one breaks first. But Judge Jones doesn't break, not even close. She sits there like a statue, calm, patient, her face giving away absolutely nothing. She's got that classic judicial poker face, the kind that's been perfected over decades on the bench. Her hands don't move, her eyes don't blink. The only thing moving in that courtroom is Crockett's energy, bouncing off the walls like wildfire. Still, Jones isn't blind to it. She's reading every tone, every pause, every heartbeat of Crockett's delivery. She knows this isn't about rules, it's about respect. And the thing about respect in Washington, it's like currency. You can't fake it. You either earn it or you burn it. Crockett takes a small step forward, her voice getting sharper. She starts questioning not just the process, but the principle behind it. You can hear the power in her tone, that mix of passion and precision that makes people listen even when they don't want to. The kind that makes you stop scrolling, stop talking, stop breathing for a second. But that kind of fire, it's risky in front of a judge like Edith Jones, because Jones doesn't argue, she disarms. She doesn't shout, she slices through the noise with cold clarity. And you can see it in her eyes right now. She's waiting for her moment to step in. Someone coughs in the back. The cameras zoom closer. The silence between the two women is so heavy you could hear a pin drop. Then Crockett finishes her point, her voice trembling just slightly, not from fear, from conviction. You can tell she believes every word she just said. Jones exhales slowly, almost like she's been holding her breath this whole time. Then she leans forward, resting her hands on the bench. And just like that, the entire room shifts from Crockett's fire to Jones's ice. Her voice is soft, but it cuts through the air like a blade. She starts by acknowledging Crockett's passion, almost like she's giving her credit, but everyone knows what's coming next. Jones has this uncanny ability to compliment and correct in the same breath. It's part of what makes her terrifying. She says in her slow, deliberate tone that decorum isn't optional. The room tightens instantly. Crockett blinks, just once, but that's all it takes for the crowd to catch it. People start whispering. Some are on Crockett's side, thinking she's right to stand her ground. Others are shaking their heads, murmuring she's about to get roasted. And through it all, Judge Jones never changes expression. She's got that poker face locked in, every word carefully chosen. Crockett smiles faintly, that kind of smile that's half confidence, half challenge. You can tell she's not done. She fires back again, this time with a sharper edge. Her words are quick, powerful, wrapped in that DC swagger that says, "I know exactly what I'm doing." And for a second, it feels like the balance is tipping her way. But that's when Jones drops her pen. Just a small motion, almost nothing, but the sound of it hitting the wood echoes through the courtroom like a gunshot. She looks up, locks eyes with Crockett, and that's it. The moment freezes. Everyone knows something big is about to happen. Her voice drops lower now, quieter than before, but every syllable lands like a gavel strike. She says something that isn't angry, but firm enough to make everyone sit up straight. The message is clear. You can challenge the system, but you better understand the weight of the room you're in. Crockett doesn't back down. She nods slowly, like she's saying, "I hear you, but I'm not done." There's a kind of unspoken respect forming between them now. Not friendly, not soft, but real. The kind that only happens when two strong people finally recognize each other's strength. The crowd is dead silent. Even the air feels heavier. It's justice versus ego, power versus truth, authority versus defiance, and nobody can tell who's actually winning. And just when everyone thinks it's about to calm down, Judge Jones tilts her head slightly and says one line, one calm, surgical line that makes everyone's jaw drop.
She didn't yell. She didn't even blink. She just dropped a line so cold, the room went silent. Judge Edith Jones had been sitting still the entire time, calm as ice. But when she finally spoke, her voice cut through the air like a razor. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it hit different. You could literally feel the temperature in that courtroom drop. People stopped typing. Reporters froze mid-sentence. Even Jasmine Crockett, who'd been on fire just moments ago, went dead still. That's the thing about real power. It doesn't need volume. Jones didn't have to slam the gavel or raise her voice. She just looked up, locked eyes with Crockett, and said, "This isn't a campaign rally, Congresswoman. This is a court of record. Know the difference." Boom! That was it. One sentence, one surgical line. The kind that doesn't need backup, doesn't need shouting, because the silence that follows is the reaction. You could see it in everyone's faces. It was that universal, "oh, damn" moment, when you realize you just watched something cross the line from professional to personal. Crockett's expression changed in real time. For a split second, her eyes widened, not out of fear, but disbelief. It was like the wind got knocked out of her, but only for a heartbeat. She didn't expect that tone, not from Jones. You could see the internal battle happening behind her eyes. Anger, pride, calculation, all clashing at once. The crowd knew it too. Some leaned forward, waiting for the explosion. Others sat frozen, afraid to move, afraid to miss whatever was about to happen next. The air was thick, like the room itself was holding its breath. And in that stillness, every camera focused on Crockett's face. The heartbeat sound, slow, heavy, echoing, would have matched the energy perfectly. Jones didn't move after that. She just sat back, completely unbothered, flipping a page in her notes like nothing happened. That's what made it sting more. She didn't act like she'd just delivered a verbal knockout. She acted like it was just another day in the courtroom. That quiet confidence, that subtle arrogance, it said everything without saying a word. But here's where it gets deeper. That line wasn't just a jab. It was symbolic. Jones was drawing a line in the sand, reminding everyone who held the power in that room. It wasn't about rules anymore. It was about dominance, about who gets to speak and who has to listen, about who controls the narrative. And Crockett? She wasn't the type to stay quiet for long. You could see the fire coming back. Her jaw tightened, her hands clenched slightly, fingertips pressing into the podium. She took a slow breath, the kind people take right before they decide whether to fight or fold. And you could almost hear her thinking, "All right, you want to play like that? Let's play." In that moment, time slowed down. Every sound, the shuffle of papers, the creak of chairs, the faint buzz of a camera, felt amplified. It's like the universe itself paused to see what Crockett would do. The contrast between Jones's icy stillness and Crockett's barely contained fury created the perfect storm of tension. Somewhere in the back, someone whispered, "Yo, she's gonna snap." Others were already texting, tweeting, making clips, because everyone knew when a line that sharp gets dropped, something big is coming next. You could practically feel social media heating up in real time. Crockett lifted her chin, eyes locked on Jones. That fire in her expression said it all. She wasn't backing down. Not today. She adjusted the mic, leaned forward, and her voice, calm but charged, broke the silence. The first few words came out slow, deliberate. No yelling, no trembling, just control. The kind that says, "I heard you loud and clear, but you're going to hear me too." It was personal now. This wasn't just a courtroom exchange. These were two forces of nature colliding head-on. The judge's face didn't change, but that's what made it worse. Jones's lack of reaction fueled the tension even more. Crockett's words grew sharper, stronger, each one carrying that mix of emotion and defiance that makes a moment unforgettable. It wasn't chaos, it was precision emotion. And even though you could feel the respect under the surface, you could also feel the resentment. Two different generations, two different kinds of power, crashing into each other. It was old order versus new voice, silence versus fire. Every person in that courtroom knew they were witnessing something to replay online for weeks, the kind of clip that trends, the kind that splits audiences down the middle, half calling it disrespect, half calling it courage, but everyone agreeing on one thing. It was raw, real, and impossible to look away from. And just as it feels like Crockett's about to take it too far, she pauses. Her eyes narrow. A small, almost defiant smile crosses her face because she's got a comeback. A real one. And trust me, Crockett's comeback? Oh, that's where the real heat starts.
Now, Jasmine Crockett ain't backing down. She fires back like she's been holding this in for years. You can feel it the moment she opens her mouth. That voice, steady but fierce, cuts through the silence like a blade. She's not yelling. She doesn't have to. Her tone carries every ounce of frustration, pride, and truth that's been building up inside her. It's not just words anymore. It's personal. It's real. She takes one step closer to the mic, eyes locked on Judge Edith Jones, and the air in that courtroom shifts again. You can almost hear the heartbeat of the room. Every camera focuses on her, every reporter's finger hovers above the keyboard. People sense something's about to go down. Not just a statement, but a statement that means something. Crockett leans forward slightly, her hands gripping the edge of the podium. Her voice grows sharper, more charged with every word. She's talking about respect, about fairness, about the double standard that's been hanging in the air all day. The kind of stuff people think but never say out loud. And she's saying it right to the judge's face. The audience doesn't know how to react. Some gasp quietly, others smirk in disbelief. A few try to hide their reactions, but the cameras catch everything. Every eyebrow raise, every nervous glance, every whispered, "Oh my God," from the back row. It's one of those moments you can't script. It's too real, too raw, too human. And then, for a split second, it feels like the whole world stops moving. Judge Jones sits there, stone-faced, her expression unreadable. She doesn't blink, she doesn't move. It's like she's carved from granite. That stillness, that unshakable calm, somehow makes the tension even louder. Because everyone's waiting for her to interrupt, to cut Crockett off, to say something. But she doesn't. She just lets her talk. Crockett's words start to pick up rhythm now. Not rehearsed, but flowing straight from the gut. You can hear years of being underestimated in every syllable. She's not just defending herself anymore. She's defending a point, a principle, maybe even a whole generation of people tired of being told to calm down. The way she speaks, it's electric. Every line lands harder than the last. A reporter in the corner shakes his head slowly, whispering, "This is wild." Someone else mutters, "She's going to trend for this." And they're right. You can feel it. This is one of those viral moments that blows up before the gavel even drops. The camera pans across the crowd, a mix of shock, admiration, and disbelief. You can see the divide. Some think she's out of line, others see courage, but either way, nobody's looking away. That's the power of raw truth. It makes people uncomfortable, and it makes them pay attention. Judge Jones finally shifts her gaze slightly, almost like she's studying Crockett now, not as an opponent, but as a force. Still, her face doesn't soften. Her calmness is her weapon. Where Crockett burns hot, Jones stays cold. And that clash of fire and ice is what keeps everyone glued to their screens. Crockett keeps pushing, her voice trembling now, not from fear, but from intensity. You can tell she's reaching that point where emotion and truth mix, where you're not even thinking about winning anymore. You just need to be heard. She talks about accountability, about respect, about how some people get silence while others get side-eye. And it's hitting hard, because it's not just courtroom drama, it's a reflection of something bigger. Jones doesn't respond right away. She just waits, lets the air settle, lets the echo of Crockett's last words hang in the air like smoke. It's powerful and uncomfortable. Everyone's eyes bounce between the two women, like watching two heavyweight fighters in that split second before the next punch. The bailiff glances at the judge, waiting for a cue. Reporters start scribbling. You can practically hear the headlines forming. Crockett challenges the bench. A moment of defiance caught on camera. Respect meets rebellion in the courtroom. This isn't just a hearing anymore. It's history in real time. Crockett exhales slowly, and for a brief moment, her tone softens. She looks around the room, scanning faces, realizing she's not just speaking to Jones anymore. She's speaking to everyone, the audience, the cameras, the viewers at home. It's like she's saying, this is what it feels like when you finally stop staying quiet. Jones takes her time before responding. The silence stretches, long enough to make the audience shift uncomfortably. You can see it in her posture. She's about to respond, but not the way anyone expects. The calm before the counterstrike. Crockett stands there, breathing steady, ready for whatever's coming next. The judge finally leans forward, the faintest glint in her eyes, and the whole room tenses up again. You know that moment right before lightning hits? That's this. Because just when it looks like it's over, the judge switches gears completely.
You ever seen a judge smile right before delivering the final blow? That's when everyone in that courtroom knew it was about to get real. The kind of real you can't fake, can't rehearse, and definitely can't look away from. Judge Edith Jones leans forward just a little, that calm smile on her face, not out of kindness, but confidence. It's the kind of smile that says, I've already decided how this ends, and that alone sends a chill through the room. Cameras lock in. The crowd freezes. Even Crockett, for the first time all day, looks like she's bracing for impact. Jones starts speaking, slowly, each word landing with the weight of a verdict. No shouting, no anger, just pure authority. Her tone is smooth, deliberate, almost surgical. Every phrase slices through the tension like a blade, and the silence in the room is so thick you could cut it with a knife. She talks about order, about professionalism, about how passion doesn't excuse disrespect. But the way she says it, it's not just about rules, it's personal. Everyone knows it. Crockett's face says everything. There's disbelief, a flash of frustration, but also this quiet pride in her eyes. Like she knows she made her point, even if she's about to get burned for it. She blinks once, jaw tight, trying not to give the cameras what they want. That reaction shot, that'll be replayed 1,000,000 times tonight. But the lens catches it anyway. That tiny flicker of emotion, half defiance, half disappointment, becomes the headline moment. The audience doesn't move, not a cough, not a shuffle. You can feel the emotional gravity in that space. It's not just Crockett standing there anymore. It's a symbol of how messy truth and power collide when they share the same stage. Jones continues, her voice unwavering, and even though her words are measured, they sting. You can almost feel the echo of each one hitting its mark. Crockett straightens up, shoulders squared, refusing to break eye contact. It's that classic American moment, respect versus rebellion, law versus voice. And somehow, they're both right in their own way. That's what makes it so gripping. Because deep down, everyone watching knows this isn't just about courtroom decorum. It's about who gets to speak, who gets to be heard, and who gets shut down. The judge pauses, just for a second. That smile again, faint but unmistakable. And when she delivers her final line, it lands harder than anyone expected. A mix of calm dismissal and subtle warning, the kind that hits both the mind and the ego. Crockett doesn't flinch. She takes it like a pro, nodding slightly, as if to say, "I hear you, but I'm not done." Reporters immediately start whispering, typing, glancing at each other. You can feel the buzz, like static electricity. They know they just witnessed something viral, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. Authentic tension doesn't need theatrics, it needs truth. And this courtroom just overflowed with it. The bailiff announces the session adjourned, and that's when the room finally exhales. People start to move, but slowly, like they're afraid to break whatever spell just settled over the space. Cameras keep rolling, catching every angle, every subtle expression. And then right there, as Crockett gathers her papers, it happens. The moment nobody saw coming. Judge Edith Jones steps down from the bench. No gavel slam, no formal exit. Just quietly walks toward Crockett. The crowd freezes again. This isn't protocol. This isn't normal. You can hear the whispers spreading like wildfire. What is she doing? Jones approaches her calmly, still composed, still unreadable. Crockett looks up, cautious, unsure whether to stand her ground or step back. The air feels electric again. That rare kind of tension where you know something big's about to happen, but no one knows what form it'll take. The two lock eyes. A second passes. Then another. And then Jones does something completely unexpected. She reaches out her hand, not as a judge, not as a superior, but as a person. A silent gesture of mutual respect. A small, deliberate move that says, "We may not agree, but I see you." You can hear the faint gasp ripple through the room. Some people don't even believe what they're seeing. Others, they just nod quietly because they know how rare that kind of grace is. Crockett hesitates for half a heartbeat, then accepts the handshake. Firm grip, steady gaze. It's the kind of moment that speaks louder than any words ever could. Two strong women, two opposite sides, standing eye to eye, not as enemies, but as equals who just went to war and walked out with dignity intact. Reporters start snapping photos like crazy. Cameras zoom in. This handshake is going to flood every feed by sundown. People won't just talk about what was said, they'll talk about this. Because in a country that loves conflict, it's rare to see respect rise from the ashes of a heated battle. As they let go, Jones gives a small nod, subtle, almost imperceptible. Crockett returns it. No words, no dramatics, just understanding. Then Jones turns and walks out, calm as ever. Crockett watches her go, a faint smile tugging at the corner of her lips. Maybe it's relief, maybe it's victory, maybe both. The crowd begins to buzz again, phones lighting up, whispers turning into chatter. People are already asking, did that really just happen? And somewhere, someone is uploading the clip with the caption, "The moment that shocked the court." Because let's be real, nobody expected what Edith Jones did after the session ended.
Minutes later, the cameras stop, but the whispers don't. Even the staffers, the ones who've seen everything, are standing there like, did that really just happen? The tension that had filled that courtroom just moments ago doesn't fade away. It lingers, heavy in the air, like aftershock waves from an unseen explosion. People move slowly, eyes still darting toward where Judge Edith Jones and Jasmine Crockett had stood face to face. It's over, officially, but deep down everyone knows this story's just getting started. Outside the courtroom, reporters rush to their phones. You can hear the clicks, the pings, the whispers. Upload that clip now. This one's gonna blow up. The air is buzzing with that kind of chaotic energy only DC can produce. The mix of scandal, respect, and curiosity that fuels every headline. One camera operator mutters, "I've filmed hundreds of hearings, but I've never seen something like that." He's right. Nobody has. Crockett steps into the hallway, surrounded by flashing lights and microphones. Her face is calm now, but her eyes still carry that spark. You can tell she's replaying everything in her mind.
The words, the stares, the silence, the handshake. It wasn't just a debate. It was a moment, one that peeled back the layers of power and pride right in front of America. A reporter yells out a question. "Congresswoman, do you regret what happened in there?" She doesn't even flinch. She just smiles slightly and keeps walking. That half smile, it says everything. Meanwhile, Judge Edith Jones exits through the side door. Quiet, composed, deliberate. No comment, no press statement. Just that same cool presence that made the room stop breathing earlier. But the people watching her leave know something shifted. She's not walking out as just a judge today. She's walking out as a symbol of restraint, authority, and maybe a little bit of mystery. Because the smile she gave before that handshake, it's the one everyone's still talking about. By the time the clip hits social media, it's wildfire. Twitter's on fire, TikTok loops the handshake 1,000 times, and YouTube headlines scream, "Respect meets rebellion. The courtroom moment America can't stop watching." The comments are a war zone. Half the people cheering Crockett for standing her ground, half praising the judge for staying composed under pressure. Everyone's picking sides, dissecting body language, slowing down clips, reading lips, spinning theories. But no matter which side they're on, one thing's clear: nobody's indifferent. News panels jump on it that night. Some call it a clash of character, others call it a rare moment of integrity on both ends. But deep down, what hooks people isn't just the argument, it's the emotion behind it. The feeling that, for once, politics dropped its mask and showed two human beings, raw and real, trying to hold their ground in front of the world. That's why it sticks. That's why people can't stop watching. Back inside the empty courtroom, the silence feels almost sacred. The chairs are still slightly turned from the chaos, a folder sits forgotten on a desk, and the echo of raised voices still lingers faintly in the walls. If those walls could talk, they'd tell you they just witnessed something rare, not just conflict, but connection. Crockett's team gathers around her later that evening. Phones buzz with messages, articles, trending charts. One aide says, "You're #1 on X right now." Another adds, "CNN just ran the handshake clip again." She listens quietly, nodding, but her mind's elsewhere. Maybe thinking about how that one moment, one reaction, one choice not to back down, turned her into the face of a national conversation overnight. Across town, Judge Jones sits in her office, papers stacked neatly beside her. She's watching the same clip on a muted screen. For a second, she just studies it. The look in Crockett's eyes, her own expression, the moment their hands met, and maybe, just maybe, there's a trace of a smile again. Not for victory, but for understanding. Because sometimes power isn't in the words you say, it's in the silence that follows. The public's still buzzing, but DC moves fast. Tomorrow there'll be a new scandal, a new debate, a new viral clip. But this one, this courtroom face-off, will linger longer than most. Because it wasn't about winning, it was about being seen, about what happens when authority and emotion collide, and both refuse to back down. By midnight, the clip has millions of views. Hashtags trend nationwide. People from both sides of the aisle are quoting it, reacting to it, arguing over it. But through all the noise, one thing stands out: the mutual nod, that quiet exchange of respect, that moment of balance between fire and composure. And then, the final echo fades. The courthouse lights dim, the hallways empty, and what's left is that silence again. The same one that started it all, only now it feels different, heavier, more meaningful. Because that's how it always ends in Washington. Not with a bang, not with chaos, but with a moment that makes everyone stop and think. And that's how a quiet courtroom moment turned into the most talked about showdown in Washington this week.